I think it was a great film because it deals with very serious topics, which is migration policy, but making it look very ridiculous, sorry. And I think that there is this whole issue of migrants from Northern Africa and the Arab countries, both in the United States and in Europe, and it makes the institution look very superficial and following stereotypes. And in the end, I think it manages to make you think twice about everything that is going on in migration policy, but also laughing. So very well played movie, very well conceived, and just the second movie of this director. I hope that many people will see it.
It was very, very good. It was very funny, really action-packed. It had a great story. It was just, you couldn't stop, you were on the edge of your seats every minute, and it was funny at the same time. So I thought it was a great movie.
I thought it was very good, very interesting, and it's a very touchy and difficult subject, and it's a good way to portray it in a comedy. It makes it easier to talk about it.
I thought it was a wonderful surprise. Fortunately, I was here for another movie last night, and I saw the brochure, and immediately told my wife that let's come over and see this. It was hysterical. I mean, it was a brilliant piece. The dialogue was amazing, and the constant changes of what happens to this poor fellow who wakes up in the morning from one job into a whole bit of terrorism. So I'm hoping it's going to go to Sundance, and it's an Oscar winner. For Best Foreign Film, I hope they push it. Everybody should see this. It was a happy film.
I was very happy to bring this film from Switzerland because it's a funny film, but it has a very serious background. You know, the security issue, terrorism, intolerance towards immigrant groups or religion are a constant problem, not only in Europe, all over, I guess. And so I think a good film is a funny film, but it makes us think of how we should react towards these patterns of reaction, of problems.
We're here this evening with Alexandra Quiñas, the screenwriter for the very important film Cairo Exit. Welcome to Arabian Sights.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Tell us, where did the idea for the story come from?
Well, 2 years ago, Hisham Aisawi, the director, he approached me to collaborate with him in writing this story, which is basically depicting the life of a very wide variety of young Egyptian people, unemployed, underprivileged. They're basically struggling for every day in the streets of Cairo to make ends meet. First, the economical issues. It's very hard for young couples, for young people in general in Egypt. A huge percentage of Egyptian young people are university graduates, unemployed, and they're struggling through the chaotic clutter of Cairo every day, trying to find trivial jobs, whatever they can, just to make a living out of it. And they reach a status of desperation, despair. And as we've seen in the movie, Tariq, the character in the movie, basically what they want to do is just to leave the country, and they take boat rides to Europe. A lot of them die on the way, but that's the challenge they want to take just to make a better life for themselves. The same thing for women. Women in Egypt, you know, it's like they do find a very hard time, you know, like there are lots of social issues that are related to women, whether it's social, financial, or both of them together. Unfortunately, the society is still a male-dominant society. There are lots of abuse towards women, and women, you know, they struggle as well as men to make ends meet, but at the same time, their challenges are more. There's sexual harassment for women in the street. They face all kinds of challenges, even though a high percentage of women are the sole breadwinners for the families.
We heard that the Ministry of the Interior and the censors interrupted work on this movie. Tell us a little bit about the background on that.
For a movie to be produced in Egypt, a movie requires 3 permits. The screenplay must be submitted to the Censorship Bureau to get approval on the contents. The Censor Bureau can tamper with the story, can suggest changes, delete scenes. Then once the screenplay is approved by the censorship bureau, and permit issue is given. Carrying a movie camera in the streets of Egypt is a felony without a permit. And once the movie is shot, the censorship bureau must screen it before giving it a final permission to be screened, in movie theaters. Because of the sensitive issue in the movie regarding the interfaith marriage and the interfaith relationship, and depicting Christians in movies, I think step one, they just didn't approve it. We did start shooting without the permits, and the producer was summoned to the Ministry of Interior, and the assistant minister just told him bluntly, "We know what you're doing, stop shooting the movie."
تفتكر انا وانت هنروح الجنة مع بعض؟
اكيد. انت مش عايزاني؟
دي بنت بنوت ولا
جرى ايه يا حاج؟ وانت شايفني ايه قدامك يعني؟
سافري معايا
عشان نغرق سوا في البحر، مش كده؟
انا مش فارق معايا حاجه، انا عايزه اغور من هنا وخلاص.
نادرين عليا يا عذرا، لو خلصتيني لقيت لك 100 شمعة في كنيستك.
بنحب نشغل قرآن، يمكن الشياطين تمشي.
وبك مين يا بنت؟ ده انت بعتيها عشان الواد الصايع بتاعك.
احمدي ربنا هنخلص من لسنة الناس.
عمر امك ما هترضى بيا، وعمر امي ما هترضى بيك.
شوفي اللي انت بتهببيه فوق السطوح انت وطارق.
اللي في بطنك ده لازم ينزل لو عايزه تعيشي معايا.
انا محتاجه اعمل العمليه، ولو ما عملتهاش ممكن اتفضح.
اتسرق.
انت عارف اللي انت نيلته ده ايه؟ هتروح السجن.
غرفه 60 داهيه.
انا لازم اهج من هنا. سيبك لمين؟
I thought it was an excellent movie. It showed, the conditions that people are living in, and it portrayed I would say an accurate picture of what's going on. So it was very, very moving.
And you?
Yeah, I definitely echo that. I think it showed some pretty sad truths to life over there right now, and also maybe uncovered some of the underlying social problems to a lot of the bigger issues that are going on in Egypt right now.
I loved it. I thought it was a wonderful depiction of a part of Egypt that's almost never shown. And he addresses a very brave issue, which is Muslim-Coptic relations, in a very personal way, and it needs to be addressed. And I'm really excited by this film, and I hope that he does many more films.
It was very moving. I've been to Egypt. I went to Egypt in the late 1989 and learned a lot about the poverty and the way people live. But this brought it home in a different way, because you sort of go into the interior of people's lives and people's homes. So having the film and the screenwriter and the discussion afterwards with clearly people who are from Egypt really was very, very important. And I think it should be discussed more. The fact that this film was censored, that you cannot see it in Egypt, and that despite Arab Spring, we still have a system that is as corrupt and repressive and especially harsh to women. I think I'm glad I came. So thank you for bringing the films here.
الأخوة الواطنون، الأبناء شباب مصر، أقول من جديد أنني عشت من أجل هذا الوطن.
Actually, I was in Egypt in that time, so I saw most of these things, but from my point of view. The movie gave me 18 different point of view that I really liked. In total, I found I really learned a lot of things in this movie. I was there, but I didn't see all of these things.
I thought it was really interesting how they had the perspectives of so many different types of people, not just the protesters, but the people that weren't involved, and the people also that maybe are on the other side, and what their experiences were with it, and how so out of the loop a lot of them were for what was really going on.
It's actually the only movie I saw about the revolution, and it was very impressive, and it's done from different perspectives of different producers, and I think it was a beautiful job, well done. And it's a very good depiction of the real stories of what happened during the revolution from different life stories and different people in Egypt. So it was wonderful. I loved it.
Have you been to Arabian Sights Film Festival before or during this week?
Yes, I come every year for the film festival. I'm an Egyptian by birth, so for me this is heaven, to come here and watch Egyptian movies. Yeah.